Hello, hello. Welcome to Erin Max Wellness. Happy April. So this month we are focusing on the third limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. So we've already talked about the first limb, the yamas, and then the niyamas. Excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat. And now we are moving on to the third limb asana. So we may, when we say that we're practicing yoga, people think of asana class. So really asana is bringing us into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th limbs of yoga. So originally the asana practice started in the preparation for meditation and to just completely clear your mind to then move through the rest of the limbs of yoga. So a lot of the postures in asana of yoga started more with the seated position. So I'll back up a little bit so you can see really to see how long you can sit there, and then that way you can begin to move through the rest of the limbs of yoga. So today we're just going to break down some of the main poses and then put them into a little bit of a flow. If you have any questions, of course, stop at any time or raise your hand and let me know so we can clarify some of the things. Let's see, we'll just get started. Let me see if I have any other notes here that I wanted to go over. Let's see. So, yep, yamas. Remember, there's the 5 virtues. There's our Izzy McGhee. I was hoping she'd make an appearance. So we have the 5 virtues of the yamas and the 5 virtues of the niyamas, the outer code of conduct, and then how we conduct ourselves, and then the asana practice. So, and then we will go into breath work and then moving into withdrawing from the senses and so on. So I'm completely letting go so you can reach the ultimate liberation. So with all of that being said, where is my little bolster? Oh, here we go. So go ahead. We're going to get into a comfortable seat first, into a cross-legged position. So we might as well just go ahead and start how one of the original asanas from the very beginning in our studies of 8 limbs of yoga is in the seated position. So that way we can get settled in and rinse out the day, let it all go. Come into your space, into your mat, into your body, out of your mind. Just to kind of clear, I'm going to change my legs up because I always go that way first. So I'm trying to learn new ways to get into my seated posture. So again, sitting on a little bit of your blanket here. Here, I'll show you. No blanket. No blanket. There we go, blanket. It just helps lower the knees a little bit more. I know that my hips personally are really tight right now, and it will show up in some of our asana practice today, which I think will be really great because we are going to slowly break down some of our postures and get back down to the basics. So as we move along through the month and we work on some maybe more challenging postures, we can have this baseline and always come back to and know that it is absolutely 100,000% okay to modify. We always have that opportunity to modify, intensify, and just be where we're at. So really listening to your inner fire, listening to the Agni basically is your inner fire. And let's just go ahead and get settled in. I hope all that made some sense. And just moving your body freely, what feels good to you, before we come to this soft space of stillness. You can find your mudra. You can always bring your mudra here, and finding the fire and the energy and the self-care, feeling the breath underneath your hands, or just simply be. Palms up, palms down. This is your yoga, your practice, your time. So do what feels good in your body. Sitting up nice and tall, stacking each vertebrae on top of the other. Remember, we have 5 lumbar, 12 thoracic, and 7 cervical. So lumbar, lower back, mid back, and neck. Taking a big inhale and exhale. Squeeze it out and let it all go. Maybe this time inhale and squeeze your shoulders up. High up, 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 up. Inhaling, filling up your rib cage, and exhale. Dropping your shoulders, letting it all go. Taking some deep breaths. Inhaling full and big and round all the way up through your rib cage, the front, the sides, the back. Exhaling, letting it all go. Sign it out if that calls to you. Squeezing out every last drop of air. Creating space. Opening up. Releasing what no longer serves you. And opening up that heart space, opening up all the dark crevices, different areas of your body, shining some light, some love and bright energy. Letting your mind go. Things are going to ping pong in and out of your mind, and that's okay. It's totally okay. That's why we practice. This is yoga practice, not yoga perfect. I like to remind you it's 90% showing up, being here, rolling out the mat. Even if you lay in Shavasana this whole entire time, that's what your body needs. That's what your mind and spirit needs, and listen to that and honor that and gift that to yourself. Letting your face be soft. If you're clenching your jaw, let it go. Maybe letting your lips open ever so slightly. Just a little space in between. Your tongue on the roof of your mouth, pressing behind your 2 front teeth. Just imagine being like a duck and just let it all roll down your back. Letting it all go and wash away out into the lakes, into the bays, and into the oceans, and let it swirl around and change the energy and feed your body, mind, and soul. And if you are so inclined to bringing your hands together at your heart's center, I like to keep a little bit of a cup in between. You can press them together. I just like to personally have a little space in between to grow and expand and feel the expansiveness of the universe in the palm of my hands. And taking a moment to thank yourself for showing up, being here, being fully present, being a part of this community, taking time to take care of your body, your mind, sharing your energies, and continuing to be the ripple of love light, peace, and happiness, and all of the yummy goodness in between. And when you're ready, gently fluttering open your eyes, releasing your palms up onto your knees. And just notice how you feel in your body, just in those few moments of clearing your mind. And gently begin to wiggle your fingertips and start to wake up your body and mind. Doing some neck circles, nice and gentle and soft. I like to imagine as if I have a string, so I like to have a high ponytail here, right on the back of your skull, and imagine you have this string, right, and then it helps draw a circle, more like an oblong circle. So remember how if we need to, we can always take a small hand towel and put it behind our necks, so we're not cranking our necks all the way back as we make our neck circles. You can bring your arms out a little bit farther from your sides, and we're just going to slowly begin to waken up our body, our mind. And you can go in the other direction. Go at your own pace with your breath. Exhaling as you come circle down. Inhaling as you come up. Good. And let your chin drop to your chest. Just let it hang. You can take your hands and gently just put them on the back of your head to give a little extra stretch. And notice if you're anteriorly dropping into your pelvis, so letting your pelvis come forward and then really sit it up. So that way you're sitting tall on your sits bones, engaging your abdomen ever so slightly. And breathe. When you're ready, inhaling, come up, letting your arms come down to your side. Ah, good. You can put your hand on your knees and do some sacrum circles, and always going in one direction and coming back into the other. Ah, good. So we're going to break down a few of our main poses and show some of the different variations. So we're going to go from our downward facing dog. We'll show a few variations for down dog, into high plank, to low plank, baby cobra / upward facing dog, back down to downward facing dog. We'll also break down the warriors. We'll do a little warrior dance, crescent lunge. Some of our on the mat, we'll do some back bends, some spine strengthening series, some variations for pigeon pose. That's always a huge request. Pretty much, I think almost always tight hips. So finding the different ways to be able to do pigeon, and really meeting yourself where you are today in your body right now. So really, really listening and not pushing. So we want to find that sweet edge versus just trying to, really get through it. So, I can feel it in my body. I've been doing different practices, which has made my body react to some of the asanas, some of the shapes differently from maybe previously that I've practiced. So just a gentle reminder to be kind and soft with yourself in your practice today. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get moving. So let's actually first get into child's pose. That way we can lengthen out our spine a little bit, open up our shoulders, and see where we're at. And again, this is a great place for variations. So you know, everybody's shape is going to be different. So that's what I really love about asana and yoga. And, you know, another great way is to, I just was reading one of my mentor's books, and I thought a really great suggestion was if, you know, measure your progress. So maybe every Saturday, take a selfie of a certain pose that maybe you're working on, or a handstand, or wherever you're at, or if you're doing weight loss or weight training, or, you know, whatever. So that way you can be accountable and track the progress and see that it's every day is just little baby micro improvements. And, you know, it doesn't matter how long you get there. It's the point that you just keep moving forward. So knees nice and wide, toes to touch. So coming down here, and this may be your child's pose. This may be as far as you can get down, and that's okay. Knees nice and wide to the mat, get your toes to touch, and just really start to focus on lengthening out your spine. So if you're still here, that's okay. You can have your forehead resting on the mat, pressing onto your third eye, your eye of intuition, your sixth chakra, or it could be the color is like a violet bluish kind of a color. It's a little bit in between like dark blue and purple. So bringing the forehead to the mat, you can have your elbows bent, or you can have them nice and long. If you're able to, you can sink your booty all the way down to your heels. And if that's not accessible to you and it doesn't feel good, again, this is where you can have your bolsters or your various different types of blocks, and you can set them up different ways, or just feel free to hang out in the air, you know, your yoga, your practice, your time, just play, you know, even if you can't get your booty all the way to the ground, just see what it feels like to have a little bit of that support underneath. Sigh it all out. Nice big inhale, let it come all the way up, and let's thread the needle. So threading the needle, we're going to take our right hand first and bring it underneath our chest. So we're drawing it across and over directly from our shoulder, right? So coming all the way down, having your palm face down. I'm going to show you with my left arm first. And you can either have your ear on the mat or your forehead on the mat. If you want, you can always leave your elbow on the mat. And feeling it, you should be feeling it with the needle, the arm that's being threaded, feel it in your deltoid. These are your deltoid muscles, the cap of your shoulder. You have middle, posterior, and anterior. So anterior is the front, middle is the middle, and posterior is the back side. So really feeling some of that gooiness. You can have your palm up, you can have your palm down. I like to play with it a little bit to see where I'm at, you know, again, depending on what you're doing for the day. So I'm going to sit here for a moment and breathe as we thread the needle, right side. Neck nice and long. And when you're ready, inhale, right arm nice and long. Exhale, thread the needle on the other side, coming directly across the body, sinking down. Again, you can be active in your long arm, keeping it up off the mat. So here, it really engaging your serratus anterior, a little bit of subscapularis, which is the muscle on the front side of your scapula. Opening up teres over here. Opening up the side of your ribs here, part of your lats. Opening up the intercostal muscles, the muscles in between each rib. Those are your intercostal muscles. And breathe. And your next inhale, bringing your left arm nice and long. And exhale, sink back a little bit more. If you have a cup double stack, see if you can take one block out and sink down. You can cupcake. So you're going to hear terms. I'm going to say cupcake your hands. So it's like having a cupcake with lots of frosting on the top. So I like to think of this as cupcake hands. And you're like, oh, I want that one. That way it helps bring your forearms up off the mat and a little bit extra lengthening in your side and your torso. And inhale, let's come on to all fours. So bringing your knees directly below your hips and let your torso be long and your palms come directly below your shoulders. Opening up nice starfish hands. So I think of my hands as big starfish. When we're doing our asana practice, we want to keep these nice and wide, and think of maybe having suction cups on this center palm of your hand and on each fingertip, on the tip of each pad. So we'll have our starfish hands nice and wide, open to the mat, open to the earth, engaging your abdomen, tucking your tail ever so slightly, and let your neck be long. And just sit here for 5 breaths. Go ahead and breathe 5 breaths at your own pace. Move my blocks out of the way. Knees hip width distance apart. So if you're not sure what hip distance apart is, that's 2 fists. Right? So it's going to be our hip bones are right here. So it's not the outer side where our thighs are, it's our hip bones. So you can always come down and bring your 2 fists in between your hands. So maybe when we're in a downward facing dog or wide-legged, or not a wide-legged forward, but if you need to have your feet separated in a forward fold, anywhere that's going to be comfortable for you. So a lot of times we do have our feet together, and if that's not good on your ankles, on your back, your knees, whatever, that is the adjustment to have your feet hip width distance apart. Good. And we'll go into some cat-cows. So here's our cow, just really hoisting your tailbones up high to the sky, letting your belly hang heavy like a hammock. And just breathe here, and then go into your cat. Think of a Halloween cat. So we're really articulating through each vertebrae of our spine as we move through our breath. You can also have your feet, your balls of your feet onto the mat if this feels better for you. So if you can have the tops of your feet down, or the other option is to have your toes, the balls of your feet and your toes on the mat. So listening to your body. On your next inhale, come to a neutral spine. We'll go ahead and we can roll over our toes into our downward facing dog. And we may be really tight, and this might be our first downward facing dog of the day. So have your knees bent a lot if you need to. Not quite so much into turbo dog. So this is our turbo dog, and we'll get back into that in a moment because we're now into our downward facing dog. So your heels may be high up off the mat, and that's okay. So these are our measuring sticks. Our heels are nice and high. And exhale, see if we can lower them down a little bit. Coming out of your shoulders. So letting your arms be nice and long, engaging your abdomen, bending your knees a lot if you need to. You can always bring a forearm down and have one arm long. And I noticed my hips started to shift and sway. So I'm bringing them back to the center. And inhale, come back up, nice and long, push back, let your head hang heavy. Bringing your left forearm onto the mat. So we're finding some dog variations, and I can feel that my hamstrings are pulling, so I'm going to bend my knees a lot. And inhale, come back up, and exhale, push it back, downward facing dog. See if I can get my heels, get your heels closer to the mat. Feeling the suction cups between your hands. So it's like a little counterintuitive of being in your dog. because you're pushing and pulling at the same time. And breathe. We're going to inhale into our high plank pose. So here we are. If we need to, we can always bring our knees down to the mat and inhale a little bit more to come more forward, because as we come down into our low plank, look at, see, my arms are even a little bit too far forward. So bringing them back a little bit more down towards your rib cage, bringing your elbows in together. So if they're splayed out, you want to bring them in together for a baby cobra. Inhaling, keeping your feet flat on the floor, using your back, your spine to lift you up. Inhale, opening up your chest. Let your shoulders come down and back. Imagine your shoulder blades coming down into your back pocket, squeezing your glutes a little bit. And exhale, you can push yourself up into your all fours, rolling over your toes, coming into your downward facing dog. Inhale, your heels high, knees low, look forward. Here's our turbo dog. So we're really winding up their spring so you can walk or hop to the front of your mat. So I'll be here, down dog, coil it up. Using your core, inhale, halfway lift. You can halfway lift here, nice flat back. Imagine if you have a chair behind you. And exhale, forward fold. Or if you want to, you can always inhale, nice flat back, and draw your hands up along your shins. Nice flat back. Imagining you have one string on your top of your head and one behind. And exhale, forward fold. Now I can feel my hamstrings are really, really tight here. So I don't feel like I can lengthen out my legs a whole lot. Maybe I need to have my feet hip width distance apart. That's okay. Open it up your hand, open up your feet for a ragdoll. And you can roll back and forth from the ball of your foot to the heel and finding center, letting your head hang heavy, shaking out your head no for no more negativity, or yes for all the good things to come. And just hang out here, breathe. You can always drop your arms and let your arms hang heavy. So it's actually good to have a little bit extra bend in your knees, so that way as we continue in this pose, we can lengthen out a little bit more. So each time we inhale, bend your legs a little bit, and exhale, lengthening out hamstrings, opening up. And go ahead and hang heavy here for a few moments. I'm going to check a couple of things so I can see you guys and see what's happening. Don't have my glasses on, so okay. Good. So we'll go ahead and inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, super sweep, arms up high to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. So right here, engaging your quadriceps, imagining your kneecaps are coming up, popping up, squeezing in your glutes, rooting down into the earth. Can you lift up all 10 toes? Good. Let's go ahead and drop our arms to the side, engaging our triceps here. Open up here, right? Hands nice and wide. Good, for a mountain pose. Inhale, super sweep, both arms up high to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center. We're gonna go into a chair pose. So inhale, super sweep, arms up high to the sky, and exhale, sink down as if there's a chair behind you. So already, booty is out. I wanna suck that in using lower abs, bring it in, and sit down. Are my knees coming over my toes? I think so. So maybe come out a little bit. Here I am in my chair today. Some days I might be in my chair here, but look how forward my torso is, right? So I know I need to come out a little bit. You can always cactus your arms. If this is too much, cactus your arms, or always bring your hands to your heart center. Take a nice big deep breath and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, place your hands down, step it back, downward facing dog. Good. Let's run through that again. Inhale, high plank pose, using your abdomen, using your core, lengthening out. If you need to, always drop your knees down to the mat. Inhale, lean forward. Exhale, chaturanga, low plank pose. Right, my knees off the mat, low plank pose. Come all the way down, belly, chest, and chin to the mat. Look at where my forearms are. Too far forward, bring them back. Imagine you have a strap on your elbows to bring your elbows back behind you, engaging your rhomboid muscles, the muscles in between your spine and your scapula. And inhale, come up, baby cobra. See if you can lift your palms. See if you can lift up one more rib off the mat. Exhale, face down, push it back. Again, you can always come onto all fours, roll in over your toes, downward facing dog. Let's move on. Inhale, right leg lifts just to hip level. And see if you can dip back out of your shoulders a little bit more. Inhale your knee to your nose, bringing your Halloween cat upper back. Exhale, push it back, three-legged dog. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, push it back, downward facing dog. Other side. Inhale, left leg lifts, hip level, flexing your toes to your nose. And hold it here and breathe. And see if you can make any micro adjustments. See where you're at. Are your fingers nice and wide? And go ahead and squeeze it out. Coming forward. Push it back. One more time. Push it back. Downward facing dog. Again, you can be here in your dog. Inhale, heels high, knees low, look forward, walk or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, super sweep, arms all the way up. Exhale, chair pose. Good. Always bring your hands to your heart center. We'll hold it here. Bringing your knees in together, nice and strong, using your adductors. Remember, we've talked about these before. These are ones that bring together, adductors. See if you can lift up all 10 toes. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, place your hands on the mat, step it back, downward facing dog. We're gonna go all the way, bringing our inhale, right leg lifts up high to the sky, pushing back into the palms of your hands. Exhale, knee to nose. Placing your right foot onto the mat next to your right hand, bringing your left knee down. Inhale, you can bring your hands to your knee, and exhale, sink it down, opening up your hip flexors, front side of your hips. Rectus femoris. Oh, that's our biggest muscle that crosses two joints, crosses your hip joint and your knee joint. And see if your this knee starts to splay out or if it's caving in. See if you're dumping into your sacrum, engaging your core, tucking your tail, bringing it down. Good. Hi, McGhee. She came to the party. And exhale, sing it back for a half split. And here, variations here. You can point your toes, flex your toes to your nose, and just stay here. I like to have a nice little bend. And again, that way, inhaling, little bend, and exhale, can lengthen it back. Or option, sitting all the way back if that's available to you. And exhale, lean forward, keeping your toes flexed towards your nose. And breathe. Inhale, come up, arms up. Exhale, place your hands down on the mat, step it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. We're gonna do the same thing. Bring your knee to your nose. Exhale, placing your foot onto the mat, dropping your right shin on the mat. Inhale, bringing your hands to your knees. Exhale, sink forward, opening up hip flexors, other side. Good. How's everyone doing? Are you breathing? Are we having fun yet? Nice. Exhale, sink it back, half split, flexing your toes to your nose. You can stay here, nice flat back. See, automatically I saw my hip kind of sway forward to the other side, so I wanted to bring it back to alignment and sit back all the way. Having a nice soft bend in your knee, pushing through your heel. Good. Breathe. Inhale, come up. Exhale, place your hands on the mat, step it back, downward facing dog. We're gonna move on to crescent lunge. So inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose, Halloween cat. Place your foot on the mat. Stay high on the ball of your back foot. See if you can line everything up here. Good, nice. Bringing your arms and your front leg into alignment. Your back leg nice and long. Inhale, bringing your fingertips onto the mat. Come all the way up, bringing your torso up. So here you want to be on a nice railroad track versus on a tightrope. So you can always open up your feet a little bit wider to open up your railroad track. Pulling right hip back, left hip forward. You can always cactus your arms if this feels good to you. Tucking your tail ever so slightly. Look at that. Did you see that? My tailbone was sticking out this way. So to tuck it, put a bend in the back knee. And eventually our measuring stick is to see where we're at. And eventually get this leg nice and long and sitting in a 90-degree angle in our front hip without dumping. So I can feel I'm dumping into my front hip, bending the back knee. Inhaling, arms up high to the sky. Exhale, place your hands down on the mat, step it back, high to low, let it flow. You know what to do now. You can stay in your high plank pose, bringing your arms, your palms directly below your shoulders, engaging your core, staying high on the balls of your back feet. Exhale, chaturanga, low plank pose. Inhale, upward facing dog. So if we've moved on from our low plank in our baby cobra, we can always do upward facing dog, being sure to keep your thighs up off the mat. So pulling forward, opening up your shoulders, opening up whole front side body, feeling the strength in your back, rolling over your toes, using your core. Exhale, downward facing dog. Other side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose, placing your left foot on the mat, crescent lunge, other side. Inhale, torso up. I'm going to move my pillow. Making sure your back foot isn't splaying out. So staying high on the ball of your back foot, bending your knee as much as you need to, right hip forward, left hip back, get everything into alignment. And then eventually see if you can push into your back leg. Opening up hips. Arms up. Exhale, high to low, let it flow. Or just meet and skip it and come all the way into downward facing dog. So if you feel like you don't have a chaturanga in you, then don't chaturanga. Come into your, immediately come to your dog. So let's say you're here, you're like, I don't want to do that. Exhale your hands down to the mat, step it back, downward facing dog. Other option always is coming all the way down to child's pose, to falling leaf, bringing your knees together, and or Shavasana. Otherwise, we'll come into our downward facing dog. Good. We'll move on. Inhale, right leg lifts. Warrior one. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose, placing your right foot on the back, turning your back foot at like a 45-degree angle. Now this is just a suggestion. I'm gonna bring this one forward and this one back so you can see. And then inhale your torso up. So right here, see how my hips wanna come open and face you to the front. So I really wanna maybe bring in your back foot a little bit more at that 45-ish degree angle. Pulling both hips forward and exhaling, sinking down. So my torso is a little bit twisted, so bringing everything into alignment. Looking to see, is the kneecap coming over the second toe? This is our warrior one. Inhale, arms up. Let your arms be up near your ears. So if your arms are here, that's okay. Maybe cactus your arms. Let your arms be like cactuses. Let your elbows be at shoulder height. You can have your palms open if you're needing more energy, or you can have them closed. You can open it up for your warrior two. So when you're opening it up, so we're at our 45-ish, we're facing forward. All we're doing is just moving our back leg. So nothing really moves. It's just our back leg opens up to 45 from a 45 to parallel to the back of the mat and sink down a little bit more. Again, checking to see kneecap over second toe. Arms nice and strong. Circle sweep all the way down to the mat. Step it back high to low. To intensify, you can bring your foot up off the mat. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or baby cobra. Roll over your toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Placing your foot on the mat, 45-degree angle for warrior one. And breathe. Yeah, really feeling it in my hip flexors, are you? Yeah, from sitting so much. Different activities from the HIIT classes. Yeah, those are intense. Open it up, warrior two. Good, and breathe. See if you can pick up your toe, your big toe on your back foot. See if you can lift all 5 toes on the front foot. Make sure you're not gripping. And exhale, circle sweep down. Step it back. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, or meet in child's pose. And breathe. Good. Inhale onto all fours. Rolling over your toes, downward facing dog. Walking to the front of your mat, opening up your feet, hip width distance apart, finding your 2 fists. And just hanging here for a ragdoll. Be swaying back and forth. If you need to, bend your knees a lot. This way it gives room to lengthen. Inhale, slowly rolling up. Did you see automatically my knees bent? To roll up 1 vertebrae at a time, stacking each vertebrae up and over. Good, rolling shoulders down and back, and give a little shimmy shake. So we're gonna do a couple more shapes of variations, and then we will come into our final Shavasana. So another one that's really important that we do a lot is our pigeon pose. So lots of different variations for pigeon. So always listen to your body and where you're at today and in this space. So, we have options here. So in our standing, I'm gonna pull my tights up a little bit, rearrange my costume here. shifting all of your weight into your right leg. So thinking of the 3 points, the heel of your foot, and then the 2 balls of your feet, right? So like that little hang 10 foot, right? So lifting all of your toes up off the mat, shifting all of your weight over. It's like a Tai Chi, shifting your weight all into your right foot, inhaling, crossing your left ankle over to your right knee, whatever you need to do for balance, making sure you're not slumping down into your hips. So sucking that up, and exhale, sink down. You can always put your hand on your knee or your ankle and lean forward. Or you can always reach for the ground, or if you have blocks. This is a nice hip opener, a standing pigeon. Or we can always come down to the mat. Same thing. Just a little bit easier, coming all the way down onto the mat, crossing your left ankle over your right knee, laying nice and flat on your back on the ground. Inhaling, bringing your grounded foot up off the mat, threading the needle, identifying your left hand, and let it come through the center of your legs. So right here, we're threading the needle this way, taking your right hand outside of your thigh and clasping your hands behind. And then you can use your elbow to push onto your knee for a little extra stretch. Reclined pigeon. Oh, and we'll let that go. Let our legs be long with a shimmy shake. We can come to the other side, rolling over. Now we want to lengthen out our other hip, open up our right hip. We can come into pigeon pose from lots of different ways. If you're in your downward facing dog, you can inhale, your right leg lifts, bringing your right knee towards your right elbow, placing your shin onto the mat, letting your left leg be nice and long. So here is always a great space for a block to put under your hip. And before you even start to go down, really being in this space and opening up front side of your body. And then you can come down elbow, elbow. You can move your block. Nice and long, shifting to play. See where the tightness is. And breathe. It's almost as if you're a sphinx sitting up. Coming down to your elbows. You can always stack your fists and place your forehead onto your fists. A nice place for a block. Or nice and long with your torso coming all the way down. And of course, breathe. Inhale, come all the way back up. You can shake it out, come into a dog, or do what feels good to you. I'm gonna give a shimmy shake. We'll be in our dog. Coming down to your knees. Coming down to your belly. For a face down Shavasana. Good. Inhaling, bringing your palms directly below your shoulders. For a little baby cobra, we'll do one more back strengthening. Feet flat on the top floor, the tops of your feet flat on the floor, engaging your glutes, engaging your quadriceps, leaving the tops of your foot on the floor. Inhale. Look at, no hands, no hands. You can bring them behind. You can bring your legs up. And exhale, reverse. Place your chin on the mat, opposite ear on the mat. Good. Inhaling, hands below your shoulders. Inhale, push it back. Child's pose. Inhale, come onto all fours. And we're just gonna go ahead and come onto our backs for Shavasana, our final shape, our final pose. I think we all have this down pretty well. You know, you can use your bolsters, blankets, blocks, straps, whatever feels good to you in your body. We're just gonna lay here and soak in what we just learned, what we reviewed. This may be review for some, it may be new for others. The message that I really want to get across today is just showing up and being here and coming for these various shapes and poses, the asana, the third limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. We're setting ourselves up for a successful yoga practice. So remember, when you say, I'm going to yoga, you're going to asana class, which is part of the whole of yoga. Letting everything go. You can have one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Feeling the love, feeling the breath, feeling the life below your hands. Thanking yourself for showing up, being here, being fully present, being open and willing to learn and play and discover and review. Feel free to stay here in this position as long as you like. I'm going to go ahead and roll over onto my favorite side, gently pushing myself up. Just stay here in your Shavasana. Stay here for at least a few more minutes before you decide to get up and get back into the world and start moving again, and maybe making dinner or breakfast or whenever you are taking this class. So again, just going over the basics today. So if you have any questions, feel free to speak up now. You can always find me at erinmaxwellness.com. You can find me on the blogs. We have, I think, about 13 blogs now. We have lots of classes that have been recorded, varying from yin, restorative, vinyasa, some HIIT classes. So you can always follow online on Instagram at Erin Max Wellness, and of course on the Facebook, same thing, Erin Maxwell. And oh, looks like Izzy is ready to go. She has my hat. So thank you so much. It has been an honor and a gift and a true pleasure to guide you through your moving meditation and going over the basics of the asana. And I'm so excited for the rest of the month. We're going to have a 30-day asana challenge. And it could be from many asanas to just doing one. So I would love to see your asanas. So please send me photos. You can always find me on Gmail at Erin Maxwell Gmail to let me know how it's all going. Opt into the newsletter to find everything Max Wellness. And I so appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for showing up and being here, being fully present for your yoga practice. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time in the Zoom room.